Welcome, my friends, to the Real Estate Investing Show hosted by Brent Daniels. That's me, Mr. TTP. I'm excited. I'm excited for the show because we're going to be breaking down, we do this every year, and I think it's important to update this every year, but how to make $250,000 this year. I am telling you, if you follow this plan to the letter, you will win. You will win massively. I am telling you, it is inevitable. It's undefeated. All right. Now, before we get into that, I want to get into actual results. Why even listen to me? Why even watch this? You know what I mean? I want to show you the breakdown of my business in 2023 because I think, listen, it's 2024 now. Transparency should be required for anybody that you're listening to or learning from or whatever else. And so I just want to break down real numbers from my business. All right. Now, across the top, you're going to see marketing channel. You're going to see sales cycle. You're going to see cost per deal. You're going to see average income per deal. And then you're going to see some ratios. And some of these ratios are going to shock you or scare you or surprise you. Or maybe they're just going to excite you because okay, wait a second. This is a real business that's run in Phoenix, Arizona, and here are real results. And if I just, reverse engineer the numbers here and put them into my own business, I can start really tracking the results that I'm having. And when you track the results that you're having, that's when you win. All right. I didn't do it for years. I was run and gun. I lived all off of my belly, right? It was all off of hunger. I was just hungry. I needed to get out of debt. I needed to fix my credit. I needed to pay off some judgments that I had placed myself in as a upper 20-year-old real estate professional. And so I had to fight and claw my way out. And so it was just hunger and I wasn't really tracking a lot of things. And I didn't really need to be honest. It was me and a notebook and my car and my cell phone, and I would drive around and I would find ugly houses. I would get the phone numbers for those property owners. I would call them up. I would ask them if they would consider an offer on their property, and I would do deals. So you don't have to overcomplicate this business, but as soon as you start bringing other people on to your team, into your business, you start working with other people. They don't work for you. They work with you. Make sure that you make that distinction early on, especially if you have issues with ego. Make sure you understand that people are working with you, not for you. All right. Once you start bringing these people into your life and you start putting the financial responsibility of the people working in the business with you and start replacing yourself in certain roles, it's important to track. It's important to track because it's going to tell you what happened and what you need to improve on. So let's take a look at this. Marketing channel, number one, cold calls. We're starting there. We call that TTP. We call that talking to people, which is the foundation of everything that we do in real estate investing, real estate wholesaling, whatever you want to do. You need to talk to enough people. Remember this. Write it down, tattoo it on your leg, put it on your whiteboard. Leads solve all problems. Leads solve all problems. All right. That's it. I want to take it. I just want to take a pause here to let that just sink in. Leads solve all problems. All right. The more leads that you have, the more opportunities you have, the more conversations and offers that you make, the more success that you're going to have. So marketing channel number one there, cold calls, the start to finish sales cycle. That's what I call it. The very first time that we speak to a property owner to the time that we get paid on those deals is 108 days for 2023. So initial contact, we do the lead follow-up, we pre-qualify them, we do the offer presentation, we put that property under contract, it then sells, closed, gets paid, money in the account, 108 days. On average, it cost me $6,400 per deal. $6,400 per deal. And the average income on that went down. We were usually around $30,000 per deal. Last year, we were $20,457 per deal. All right. And look at this. We had to talk to 3,483 people to get one deal. 3,000 483 people to get one deal, and we closed 1 in 53 leads. Now, that's all in Phoenix, Arizona. If I were to do this in smaller markets, it would be much, 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 much tighter. If I were to do this more nationwide, it'd be much, 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 much tighter. You've seen a lot of people in this industry that do a great job really breaking down their numbers, and it's much, much better than this. It's much closer to like 1 in 30 or 1 in 25. And I believe them. I believe that I can go into other markets and average $10,000 deals, $12,000 deals, but I want to average more per deal. That's why I stay in my market. It's competitive. It's a lot of people are making calls. A lot of people hire VAs to make calls. And so the ratio on that has definitely increased. And we're going to show that when I break down how to make $250,000 this year. All right. But those are the numbers. Text. Look at this. This was really shocking to me. Average text message marketing deal took 121 days to get paid. First text response to the time that we got paid, 121 days at a cost of $4,785. And the average income on those was $32,881. But we got one deal per 65,219 texts. 65,219. Now, did all of those people respond to those texts? No, those are just outbound texts. 65,219 outbound texts. We had a 90% deliverability rate, and we typically somewhere between, it depended on which part of the year, but somewhere between a 10 and 20% response rate. Now, we use Launch Control. They do a phenomenal job of getting our numbers away from anti-spam, and they keep our numbers really clean, and we're able to deliver a bunch. We pay $1,500 a month for that service, and we get 100,000 text messages that we can send out every single month. And I've got 2 texters that are VAs that are doing that. By the way, the cold calls, it's important to mention, the cold call ratios are much different if you're making the calls versus if a VA is making the calls. Now, I have the best of the best of the best VAs. They've made me millions of dollars over the years, the same ones for past 5 years, at least one of them. The other one came on last year. They do a phenomenal job, but it's my job to make sure that I put them in the best position. So when I see that ratio right there of one deal per 3,483 contacts, that means we got a little bit loose with our lists, right? Because we have so much firepower on that side. We had really wide lists. They weren't the most motivated property owners, right? We're not talking about driving for dollars. I mean, this is all in the mix. But if you're just calling driving for dollars, if you're just calling the AI list that you get at flipfinder.ai, which has been bananas, that's why we went that way. If you go pre-foreclosures, if you're doing some of the tired landlords that are out of state, right? You're going to get a better ratio there. But once you start building and building and building, you open up the filters for those lists to make sure that you get the volume, and you're going to see something similar to this. So if you're in that position, don't expect the same results when you were just calling as when VAs are calling 40 hours a week. All right? There's a big difference there. All right, now let's go down to my favorite. This is where I'm heading everywhere. This is my main focus now. Listen, I went to hustle season. Again, I was working from my gut. I was super hungry. I was making all the calls myself. I was doing all the texts myself. I was doing all those things until I was able to expand, because when you're starting out, you don't have a huge budget. And I really believe that you need to go through at least 1,000 conversations yourself before you start doing some inbound marketing leads. And that's what this is. The next 2 are inbound marketing, and that's pay-per-click. Pay-per-click, woo, look at this, 50 days start to finish. And by the way, they go a lot faster. Most of them are around 30 days. We had some outliers, but I'm going to keep the average just to keep a pure ledger here. But 50 days. Talk today, we get paid in 50 days. Most of the time it was 30 days. And the only thing that really delayed some of those was the seller needed longer to close. Okay. But 50 days pay-per-click, but it cost us $7,272. $7,272 to pay my guy to run the campaign, to pay for all of the to pay Google essentially. The average income on those was 23,985, and we closed 1 out of 19 deals. We should be better there. My team knows we should be better there. Initially, we weren't ready for it, to be honest. We weren't ready to get on that appointment as soon as possible and lock up those property owners, put those property owners under contract. We were just a little bit lazy in the beginning. I think we underestimated how fast these leads go and how much more competition there are. Now, what I will tell you is this: when you are reaching out to people, when you're prospecting, when you're doing the outbound marketing, which is text and cold calls, you're going to find there's going to be less competition. It takes a longer sales cycle, but there's going to be less competition. With pay-per-click, way more competition. They're not just putting their information on your website. They're putting it in a few. So one, really cut your teeth on outbound, because you're going to learn your presentation. You're going to learn how to convert those leads into signed agreements. Because if you just go into marketing and you don't have the sales skills yet to convert those deals into signed agreements, you're going to get beaten like a drum. I'm telling you. People are going to go in, they're going to build faster rapport, deeper rapport, better relationships. They're going to be able to negotiate better. They're going to be able to weather any kind of objection storms that they throw at you. So really cut your teeth with going on a lot of appointments that you earned from prospecting, from going out and outbound marketing, and then get into more of a traditional advertising and marketing channel. All right. So average income there, 23,985, 1 in 19 ratio. All right. We should be closer to 1 in 12, 1 in 15. That's what we're shooting for. That's what we did in the back half of this year. So we got much, much better at that, but we're keeping a pure ledger. TV was bananas. TV really was interesting. I mean, it was really cool. I was walking around. People would like kind of recognize you. They wouldn't say anything because they're really not sure where they saw you. But we were spending anywhere from $30,000 to $40,000 a month in TV ads. It was great. The deals are massive. I mean, you could look there. The average income of TV was $59,999. I'm not sure why it wasn't $60,000, but that's what it ended up being, $59,999. But the cost, guys, the cost was $37,000 per deal. $37,000 per deal. By the way, I have somebody in my market, and he's in California and some other areas, but I've got a guy in my market that spends $20,000 a day on TV. Just doing what we do. I'm not even talking about the open door and the offer pads and all the marketing that they do. I'm not talking about the 72 solds. That guy was spending $1 million a month just in TV in my market. So maybe I think that with TV, there's probably some barriers to entry in whatever market you're in. But 1 in 9 people that called us, we closed one. We made $60K each time, but it cost $37,000 a deal. And it was fast. These people wanted to sell as fast as possible. They called us literally like the bat line. They're like, come buy my house right now. It's bananas. Absolutely bananas. TV works, but I'm going to put my money and attention into pay-per-click. I think it's more scalable. And I just think that in certain markets and bigger markets, you have to go really, really, really big budget to be able to really crack the percentages. Because you can see there, I mean, there's a decent amount of profit in that deal. But if you if you miss out on a couple deals or you have a couple bad months, it's going to eat up a lot of those profits. And so I just didn't, $37,000 per deal for a 60K deal is great, but it's just, I think that I can do a lot better with pay-per-click. It's going to be a lot faster, and my team's got the systems down. Now, what I will say is this: if you're doing pay-per-click, if you're doing TV, if you're doing any kind of inbound marketing, direct mail, bandit signs, whatever, you have to answer the phone. You have to answer it. Do not let it go to voicemail. Don't let it go to an answering service. Answer the phone. Answer the phone. If somebody puts in their information on a web form and for your pay-per-click on your website, you need to respond within 1 minute. I tested this. 3 minutes, it was like we're getting a hold of them 50% of the time. 1 minute, we're getting a hold of them almost every time. 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, it dropped down to 50%. At 5 minutes, it was way lower. Like the leads that come in the middle of the night, it's like almost impossible to get a hold of them. It's crazy. All right. So that's my breakdown. And I wanted to go through that. And I want to go through all the different marketing channels, just the pros and the cons, so that you can choose which way you want to go. And if you're just starting out, I think that there's two obvious choices. Either you're picking up the phone and you're making calls, or you're going to do text. Now, text took a lot of heat late last year because the carriers blocked a lot of the mass marketing, a lot of the text message marketing. They didn't allow certain things to be said. But Launch Control has done a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. If you're going to use a text message marketing, I use Launch Control because they keep us really clean. They keep us TCPA compliant. I'm sure there's other channels. No, it's rhinotexting.com, Matt. Rhinotexting.com is to go through. I mean, you could go straight to Launch Control, but if you want like the best customer service, they really love the Rhino Tribe. It's at rhinotexting.com. So there you go. Matt, will you put on the marketing matrix real quick? Guys, by the way, we have an incredible show for you today. We're going 2 hours. In about 15 minutes, Eddie Para, who lives here in Phoenix, who's had an incredible year, is going to break down what he did to build his business. He's a young professional. He's a go-getter. He's absolutely incredible. After that, we've got out of Philly. We're going to crisscross the country, and I'm going to bring incredible people onto the show. At the top of the hour, I'm going to bring on Watson Saint Solney. He is absolutely incredible. He's doing great things out in Philly. And then we're going to end in Columbus, Ohio with my favorite, your favorite, Stephanie Hunt. She's absolutely incredible. She runs a Empty the Clip challenge once a month on Mondays in our Rhino Tribe, where they talk to 100 people in a day. 100 people in a day, 100 contacts, new contacts in a day. We're going to break that all down. She's absolutely incredible. But take a look at this. Make sure that you understand this. Guys, I'm going to break down. We're going to go through this. I'm going to go through a couple other things. I've got a lot of exciting things in the show today. Do not miss a second of the show. I am telling you, it's going to be absolutely bananas. I'm going to give you everything that you need to go out there to make $250,000 this year, without a doubt. But stick around, because I'm going to break down all the numbers so that you know what to expect, right? I'm going to give you the expectations so that you can go into this year eyes wide open. All right, top marketing channels right here. You've got referrals, you've got cold calls, text and doors, you've got direct mail, and you've got pay-per-click. All right? This is what you got to make a decision. When you're getting started, you got to make a decision. What are you going to do? You start one marketing channel and you go deep before you go wide. All right. So let's look at, and these are the things that I look at. I look at five main points here that I look at. Five main factors, I should say, not points. Five main factors: freedom of schedule, competition, cost, profit margin, and predictability. All right. If you're looking at referrals, this is where you go out and you build a great reputation. You talk to a lot of real estate agents. You talk to a lot of wholesalers. You talk to a lot of investors. You talk to your family and friends and network and everybody in your phone. And you tell them, I buy houses, I buy houses, I buy houses. By the way, everybody on a daily basis should be posting a video or a picture that says, I buy houses. Send me your deals. Send me your deals. Send me your deals. All right. Everybody should be building up their referral database. It's incredible. I talk about this all the time. Imagine if you had 30 people, just 30 people, agents, friends, title companies, hard money lenders, anybody, whoever, referring you one deal a year. Imagine that. And the average deal size, if we were really going on the low end, is $10,000. 30 deals at $10,000. That's $300,000. So definitely do not be quiet. Give yourself permission to turn your phone around and film something every single day that says, send me your deals. Watch what happens. All right. So referrals is freedom of schedule. You don't. There's no freedom of schedule with referrals. If you get a referral coming in, you need to answer that call. You got to respond to that call. You've got to nurture that lead as soon as possible. Because if you're not quick with your communication, then it's people are not going to refer you. Beautiful thing is it's low competition. There's low cost, low to no cost, which is fantastic. I mean, Jamil Damji, the best wholesaler that I know, built his whole business around this model right here. It's absolutely incredible. Profit margin, super high, predictable. No, it's not. You never know when you're going to get referrals. You don't know, right? So you got to constantly be adding to your referral database and being really proactive and reaching out to people and saying, hey, do you have anything that I can buy? Do you have anything that I could buy? Do you know anybody that's looking to sell? I'd love to give them an offer, right? Referrals are fantastic, but it's not very predictable. And if you don't have a network or a reputation yet, you're going to have to go to step 2 here, which is cold calls, texts, and doors. This is being proactive. It's going out there. Your teeth are sharp. The fangs are sharp. The nails are sharp. You are hungry. You are going after it. This is hustle season. And remember, hustle is a season. It's not a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle. This is when you're really building the momentum, building the pipeline of opportunities. Do you have a freedom schedule? Of course you do. You talk to property owners on your schedule, literally. And I'm going to show you the schedule that I used that I've found is the most effective. But 9 to noon every single day, I would just be prospecting. So now I'm having those conversations on my schedule, right? I'm not worried about people calling me and dropping everything. I'm at a nice meal. I'm in the shower. I'm at the gym. I'm with my kids, and a call comes in. I got to take that call, whether that's a referral or an inbound call, right? But when you're being proactive, you're going after it, right? You got freedom of schedule, which is fantastic, which is something that was top tier important to me. Some people are just psychos, man. Some people just love that action. They love being interrupted all the time, right? The competition is low to medium, depending on where you're at. You'll find that usually when you are submitting offers on these leads, there's one or two offers that you're competing against. It's yours most of the time, but there might be another couple in there. But the competition's a lot lower. Cost is low because you're trading your time and efforts for the budget, right? It's not a huge budget to just reach out to people all the time, which means that you have a really high profit margin, which means that it is predictable. If I talk to a certain amount of people, I get a certain amount of leads, which means I get a certain amount of deals. So you can build a very predictable and duplicatable business by being very proactive. The third one, direct mail. Freedom schedule, no, you got to answer those calls. Don't let those go to voicemail. You got to answer those calls. I'm just telling you, the times have changed. Back in the day when I was learning from Tom Kroll back in 2016, he put it all to voicemail, call back the voicemails, and pre-qualify them. Don't answer anything live, right? And it was fine until like everybody mailed. And before these big companies like Open Door and OfferPad spent literally like 30, 50, $60 million a year in direct mail. So freedom of schedule, no, you got to answer those calls. Competition high. They're not just calling you. The cost is low to medium. You're anywhere from 40 cents to $1 a postcard or a letter. Profit margins are medium. Let's be honest, because it's going to cost. Anytime that you're doing advertising, your profit margins are going to go down. Unless you're getting referrals and unless you're being proactive, your profit margins will go down. Is it predictable? Sure. You can figure out, I can send out X amount of postcards, X amount of letters, get X amount of calls, and do X amount of deals. You certainly can do that. And then pay-per-click. Freedom of schedule, absolutely not. You don't. You got to be on it. I just told you have to respond in 1 minute. 1 minute. Competition's high. They're responding. It's, again, inbound market. Cost, high. You need at least, if you're in a major market, even if you're in, let's just say 500,000 population 500,000 or above, you need minimum $10,000 per month in marketing budget for pay-per-click. Cost high, profit margin medium, right? Predictable, yes. But I think, once you build your business and you want those now leads and you want to close the deals as quick as possible, it's the best. It is the best. Once you can get to this point of pay-per-click, it's so good. It is so good. It is absolutely phenomenal. So, but the profit margins are not as high, right? I mean, I just proved it to you in our results from last year. They're going to be lower, right? But definitely worth it at the time when the time's right. Because it is predictable and you can scale and it's awesome. And trust me, your acquisition team and yourself will absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it. So that is the top marketing channels. What do we got next, Matt?
I don't know if you want to talk about it, but there's been at least 4 comments asking why your cost was so high on cold calling
Yep.
for last year.
The cost. Okay, let's go back to we have a question on why is the cost so high for cold calling? Because I pay my cold callers $25 an hour. That's why. I mean, I pay $25 an hour. And so that's why the cost is so high. You gotta skip trace, first of all. You gotta have your dialers, and you gotta hire really great talent. That number was like 18,000 when I had virtual assistants from the Philippines. For real. I'd have to talk to 30,000 people. I mean, I just did. I mean, it was that competitive here in my market. So 25, I mean, it's still a decent return on investment for sure. But 6,400. But listen, the cost is barely anything if you're making the calls yourself. That's the point that I'm telling you. The cost is very high because you hire really great talent to make those calls. By the way, the year before, that same team made us $800,000. One caller made me $800,000 last year in 2022. This year was less. It ebbs and flows. That's why you have to add marketing at some point to your channel, because it's not like every single year you're going to make the same amount from calling and texting. And anybody that's been in this business for over 5 years or 10 years will tell you the same, except for there's been one constant. Well, there's been two constants that I've seen, but one, has a huge barrier to entry. But the one constant has been pay-per-click. People have been doing. I know companies that make millions and millions and millions off of just pay-per-click. Just pay-per-click alone. That's all they do. I mean, they do some other things, referrals and that type of thing, of course. But they've tried everything. They lose out on calls. They lose out on text. I'm telling you, I have talked to more people that have spent all of their savings on hiring VAs to make calls for them and not do enough deals to cover it. And then they go, what did I do wrong? You have to have really great talent. 6,400. Don't listen. This is just real life in a major market. If I were making the calls, myself, it'd probably be like 1,000. And then if you really, really refine the lists, it would be way lower. It would be way lower. That's why we're pulling that's why I'm so feel great and fortunate that we have the AI list. Finally, AI is caught up to the public data. And so we pull from flipfinder.ai and just pull the AI lists and the zip codes and are just focused on that. And the leads are going bananas, going way more. But when you start expanding out your lists and you start calling owners with owner occupied with equity, you need more hours. So that's the reason for that. And that leads us into, and we'll get a fresh perspective here. I've got an incredible guest. Come on up, Eddie. Eddie Parr here is coming in. Let me give you a microphone here, Eddie.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show.
Man, appreciate you. Thank you for bringing me up here.
Eddie
I
is
greatly
here.
Appreciate it.
Eddie, how old are you?
I'm 23. 23 years old.
23 years old. And when did you start wholesaling?
I started wholesaling when I was 21.
Okay.
21.
Okay. 2 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
2 years ago. And I literally drove for dollars. Skip trace the list manually, separated the records myself and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I dialed from my phone.
Mm-hmm.
That simple.
Just literally hand dialing.
Yes, literally hand
not
dialing.
Not even a dialer.
Yep, not even a dialer.
Yeah.
Today, in fact, was my first day on a dialer.
How'd it go?
It went amazing. And I just sat there and I said, what have I been doing for the past 2 years, Brent?
Right.
Seriously.
So, but you built last year, you had a great year.
Yes, thank God. Yep.
What did you make last year?
Last year was 400 grand.
Come on, man.
Yep.
Come
and
on.
I haven't reigned it. Thankfully. Yeah. And it's just very simple. Honestly,
$400,000. You're 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Is your family in real estate?
No.
No background in real estate.
Nope. I'm actually a first generation here. My parents came from Mexico. Yeah.
Incredible.
And thankfully I found this path to, where I can put my skills to use.
Yeah.
Thank God.
So you've been hand dialing, driving for dollars, and you made 400,000.
Yep.
Just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anybody on your team or you have VA? What do you have?
Yes. My first year, which was in 2021,
Guys, in the comments section,
yeah.
give Eddie a tremendous amount of love. A
Thank you, guys.
tremendous amount of love. How can, real quick, while we have people's attention, how can people reach out to you?
They can either reach out to me on my cell phone or my Instagram, either or. I don't
Okay.
mind. I would love to help. I always
Let's do Instagram because I don't want you too
okay.
busy.
Yeah, no,
I
know.
love you. I love you, audience. But if I
Yeah.
give out his phone number, it's going to go
Yeah.
bananas, and you're going to get distracted. And I want you to go to 1 million this year. So,
yeah.
what's your Instagram?
So, here's another thing. Literally, just today, I made my personal Instagram because I knew you were going to ask me that.
Yeah.
So, my username is h.eddieparra. EDDIEPARRA.
Matt will put it across here. Yeah.
Yes. And if you take a look at my Instagram, literally, like, it's still pictures of my dad's detail shop because I didn't do any social marketing. Like,
what do you mean diesel shop?
Detail shop.
Detail shop.
Yeah. So like 3 years ago, I was working with him and I
detailing cars.
Yes. I set up his Instagram. And it's quite crazy, Brent. And I really want to say this because I think it'll help a lot of people. The reason why I started this business, Brent, was because my dad told me not to come to work for 2 weeks.
Right.
Literally.
Yeah.
And because there was no work.
Was it 2020?
Yeah, it had to be.
Yeah.
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 So from those 2 weeks, literally, like I said, hey, I have to do this. And me and my fiance got in the car and we drove everywhere, literally like the entire city of Phoenix.
Yeah.
Street by street, dead end by dead end, built a list. And now it's like 30,000 records of the driving for dollars. And I literally started hand
in an app, or were you just writing them down?
Deal machine.
Deal machine.
Deal machine.
Yep. Awesome.
And yeah, thankfully, as I was saying, the first year it was 165 or 185 that I made, and that was straight hand dialing from my phone. The second year, I got 3 VA cold callers overseas that now do a bulk of cold calling all day. So
how did you find them?
How did I find them?
Yeah, your cold
call
calls.
geeks.
Okay.
Call geeks.
Yep.
I hired them from them, and I started pulling. It's pretty funny because you know, you said the dumbest people make the most amount of money in this business.
Yes.
And I think you're even going to cringe when I say this. I was pulling 30,000 records a month, not knowing how to pull lists.
Right.
And thankfully,
massive imperfect action, Eddie. I mean, you're the personification of it. That's why I want to feature you here and let everybody know that there's no mystery here. There's not some secret cheat code to this thing. It's just massive imperfect action. And when I say dumb, it means don't overthink this. Don't get stuck in the education loop. Don't stay like a professor in college and just work off of theory. Go out and actually get the experience. There's a great, I want to show this real quick, Matt, if you don't mind. Don't pull it up yet, but I love this right here. Pull this up. And this is, I love this from Alex Hermosi. Nope, you put it, there you go. They're right. You can work smart, not hard to make money. But you got to work hard to get smart. No way around it. The work needs doing. That's the absolute fact, right? The work needs doing. That is a beautiful and eloquent way of saying massive and perfect action.
Yeah.
You can't get smart without doing the work. You can't get smart without the experience. And so how do you have experience if you're always just in your head thinking of new ways to be able to do this business when it comes down to conversations and offers? So walk me through your daily schedule.
So I wake up, I have to go to the gym. That's another thing you guys have to do. I wake up at 9 a.m., 8 a.m. every single day.
Okay.
I go to the gym. I'm back in my house, calling out of my living room from my phone, except today was my first day on a dialer.
Yeah.
I call from 10 to 2 p.m. After 2 p.m., just straight follow-up all the way until 7 p.m.
And appointments.
Right.
And so when you were first making your calls, were you scared?
I was terrified. And it's really funny because I think I started in 2020. I need to.
That's fine.
Yeah, I need to think of my on my dates. Yes, 2020, I think.
Yeah.
So 2 years before that, I was freshly out of high school. Me and my 3 friends, we built a list of like 1,000 properties here in Phoenix. but we never called.
Yeah.
And that was the problem, right?
That's it.
And I actually made, I think, like I would say 100 calls, and one of the calls was a very mean individual.
Sure.
And he terrified me to ever get on the phone again,
Yeah.
literally, except until, of course, 2020. But he screamed his guts out
Yeah.
at me. And
I'm going to report you.
Yep. And
Yeah,
I stopped.
Yeah.
And I stopped for like 2 years, literally, which is absurd.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Mhm.
It's interesting when you have, you go your whole life trying to avoid rejection
Mhm.
because there's something in our brain that says you need to be part of the tribe. You need to be
Yep.
part of the tribe. You need to be part of the tribe.
Yep.
And then when you do something, you get rejected so hard,
Mhm.
you feel like you're kicked out of the tribe or you're
Yep.
doing something wrong. You just feel horrible. And you're like, oh my gosh. Oh, and I
Yes.
remember that feeling,
Yes.
especially, just prospecting as, in my early 20s, doing real estate, doing that whole thing. I would always get so nervous and I'd have to pump myself up, and I'm
Yep.
listening to Tony Robbins and I'm listening to Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm trying to like get my mind right. And then it took me losing everything, Eddie, to really go, you know what? What's the worst that can happen?
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? And then I just realized, wait, I can actually go out there and I know that if I go into somebody's life, this is just something that maybe was put into my head when I was young. If I go into somebody's life, their life is going to be better.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So why not do that for the customers? Why not do that for people that are struggling with their property? Why not do that for people that are going through pre-foreclosure or have these ugly houses?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think if you really believe that people's lives are better off with you in it,
Yeah.
then it'll help you to be brave and have that courage to go out there and have quality conversations with property owners.
Yes.
And that's all it comes down to.
We provide extreme value to the marketplace.
Right.
And not just to ourselves, but as well as flippers. But I mean, I think Pace mentioned something about like 56 people getting paid from one single real estate transaction.
Yep.
And we're solving problems that the owner have neglected for years.
Yep.
And you come in and you're that catalyst to initiate that problem solve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So then let's talk about your first appointment. If you can go all the way back to that. Did you bring a contract? Did you dress up in like a button-up shirt and slacks and the whole thing? Like, what did you do?
So it's crazy because I actually have a screen recording of you ringing the bell for me on my very first deal, like back in 2020.
Yeah.
And
on this show?
Yeah. And I was like, please ring the bell for me. Please ring the bell for me. But back to my first appointment, I'm pretty sure I had a polo. I'm pretty sure I had some jeans. I had some nice shoes. I'm always very presentable, of course.
Yeah.
And it was a lot on 43rd Avenue in Van Buren.
Yep.
And first thing the owner said, I'm not signing anything today. I'm just here to meet you. I said, man. And I was super excited because I was going to go on the trip with my fiance to Texas with her family.
Yeah.
And I was going to be super excited. I got my first deal. But no, it didn't work like that.
No.
It was actually a blessing.
Did you get it?
Yeah, it was a blessing, I think, that was my first deal because they actually presented my agreement, my contract. I didn't even know what was on the contract.
Right.
I didn't. I saw Alex Saenz, an individual from here in Phoenix, explaining, the terms. Hey, this is what this means. This is what this means. And I watched that like 20 times the day before I went on that appointment, and I still didn't get it fully the next day. So they actually presented my contract to their agent.
Yeah.
And you know what their agent said?
Huh.
This contract is legitimate.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Go for it.
And that doesn't normally happen.
Sure.
You know?
Well, listen, I mean, I think, and this is just, rose-colored glasses, I think that they're going to accept every offer. I think every agent's going to love to work with me, and I'm going to help everybody out, and everything's going to go great. You know what I mean?
Yes,
because
I agree.
I think if you go into it with a little bit of naivety, a little bit of just over-optimism, it works out a lot better. You know what I mean?
I had that limiting belief back then.
Sure.
I was like, oh, they're going to put it in front of their agent. The agent is going to want to do the business.
Yes.
But the agent completely separated himself and just said, hey, this private individual is doing it correct. Go ahead and do it. And I couldn't believe it.
And you put the property under contract.
Yeah.
Was it a driving for dollars lead?
It was a driving for dollars lead.
You called them. You got the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
They made sure that their agent reviewed the contract.
Yep.
Who'd you sell it to?
I sold it to an individual that has now built a house on it and is inviting me to go and visit it because I
Really?
reached out to them and I
Yeah.
said, hey, I found this deal for you.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, come on.
Did you know that buyer? Or did you go through like a dispo?
Keegley.
Yeah.
Yes,
So you
Keegley.
took it to Keegley. Keegley sold it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Keegley has helped me with a ton of deals.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So and what'd you get paid on it?
It was $15,000.
Awesome. How'd that feel?
It felt amazing. I couldn't believe it. Seriously, I said proof of concept.
Yeah.
Now
But
let's move on.
then here's the interesting thing about you. You started making good money
Mhm.
and you still didn't have a dialer?
No.
You still didn't go bananas with all sorts of different marketing. You didn't get shiny object syndrome. You didn't buy a bunch of, terrible
I did
rentals.
get shiny
Okay,
object
let's
syndrome.
go through it.
Mm-hmm. So my first year, I wish I could have listened to Brent's advice, was to not get shiny object syndrome because
Focus.
I went into a flip with my friend and I completely lost my shirt because it was at the shift of the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally lost a third of my income on my first year. And that was extremely hard. It was one of the darkest places of my life, literally. But thankfully, I was able to overcome that. And, what if I gave up my first year?
Right.
I wouldn't have done what I did my second year.
No.
And I wouldn't be here now.
That's right.
With you.
That's it. Going into your third year with a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
Right? How's this year looking? How's
It's
January,
looking
February? How's it looking?
It's looking great. I'm super excited. I cannot wait.
You got some deals?
Yeah, I got some deals.
Just for, and so now with your business, do you know your numbers? Do you know how many contacts your callers have to make to get a deal?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's the next step.
Yes. And this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Really clean that up and just really figure out how many contacts you need so that you can start playing around with your budget. Right. Awesome.
Fully agree.
But you're still making calls yourself.
Yes.
Why?
I just love it.
Yes.
Honestly, I love it.
I do too.
I used to hate it and now I love it. Because you help people literally. And I think a unique thing that separates you from the crowd is just being genuine and helping. And sometimes I even tell myself I can be a therapist because literally like people bring me all of their problems and I'm there for them. Regardless of the time, regardless of the day.
Yeah.
I pick up my phone for them.
Well, you have to have tremendous empathy, right? You have to have tremendous empathy for what people are going through. And a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people don't have a lot of people that they can talk to. They don't have a lot of people that they can just kind of unload and get all of their problems that they have built up inside of them, in their soul. They have nobody to share that with. And so oftentimes, I mean, and you could see it in the way that they live. You could see it in the way that their lifestyle is, right? And we get to help them move past that, get a fresh, clean start. Or maybe it's people that have inherited properties or whatever else. We help them, get rid of their property. I mean, there's a million different reasons why people work with us, but it's so rewarding.
Yep.
It's wildly rewarding. So give some advice to everybody that's coming up, that's looking for their first deal.
Get on the phones. Follow your intuition because you're literally getting answers. Literally, it's like a guidance system. And, you're being told what to do and we don't do it.
Right.
So just do that. Literally just follow your intuition because it reveals the next steps.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody watching this, understands that if they talk to enough property owners, they will get deals.
Yep.
It's just doing it. That's it. And
it's literally impossible not to.
Right. I mean, you're proof. I mean, I stand up here and I'm bombastic and I've got the cool purple screen and I've got, or pink screen or whatever. And I'm like speaking off of my soapbox type of thing. And people are like, okay, cool, Brent. But this is proof.
I used to be literally in the position you guys were in. I would watch your videos seriously 4 or 5 times on repeat, specifically the cold calling ones.
Sure.
To try and get over that fear of getting on the phone.
Yep.
And every single day. And I literally cannot believe I'm on this video.
That's it.
Seriously.
This is just the start.
Mhm.
This is just the start. We're going to have you guys. If you want Eddie on here more often, let us know. He lives just down the street. I would love to have you on here.
Yep, just down the street.
You're phenomenal. You do. I mean, you're right here. This is awesome. So, guys, incredible. Give them your Instagram again.
It's H.Eddie Para. EDDIE is how you spell Eddie.
Parra.
Yep.
Will you put his name up again,
Mhm.
Matt, just on the screen here so that everybody can see it? And then if you're listening to this on a podcast, make sure that you reach out to Eddie and just tell him great job.
Mhm.
When you do that, I'm telling you, that comes back to you. And remember, giving and receiving. It's this whole cycle. So you
Mhm.
give somebody a compliment, and you give somebody, hey, you open up a door to a
Mhm.
relationship. You
Mhm.
receive that
That's
as well.
correct.
That's right.
Mhm.
Awesome, Eddie. Thank you for being on here, brother.
Brent, thank
Yeah,
you.
great to
I
see you.
appreciate the invitation.
He hates hugs. We're breaking him in. He hates hugs, but that's fine. We'll get you. Thank you, Eddie. Absolutely incredible, guys. Isn't that wild? Oh, I love it. Now let's look at let's do some numbers breakdown here. Let's look at the numbers real quick. All right. Matt, will you pull up the stats? This is if you are making the calls yourself. This is the plan to get to 250,000 this year. All right, right here. Wholesale goal calculator. See you, brother. You're the best. Awesome. $250,000 goal. Now I'm putting an average of 10,000 per deal. If you're just starting out, that's very reasonable. I want you to get it to 20,000 per deal because obviously the higher your gross profit, the higher your net profit. All right. Now, 25 deals, you're going to have to talk to 200 people per deal. You're going to have to talk to 200 people per deal. That's 5,000 contacts. All right. This should say 200 per deal. It says 2,000. It's all right. It's my fault, Matt. I approve this. But it's 25 deals times 200 equals 5,000. You're going to have to talk to 5,000 people this year. Woo, that's scary. 5,000 strangers? I haven't talked to one stranger, Brent. Yeah, but how many people make $250,000 that you know? Seriously. How many people? Eddie's doing it. Eddie's just going out there. He watched this YouTube channel. Not to plug myself, but he watched this and did this, and it works. Proof's right there. Proof is right there in the first hour of the show. First half hour of the show. 25 deals times 200 is 5,000 contacts. 5,000 contacts divided by 40 weeks. I'm not even saying 52 weeks. I'm saying you could take off a quarter of the year. You could take off 12 weeks. I'm just saying 40 weeks out of the year. You're just head down, pedal to the metal, baby. 125 contacts per week. That's 25 contacts per day. It's 25 contacts per day. That's it. You talk to 25 new people every single day. Now, let's look at what it is if you hire a VA. All right? Now, maybe your VAs are a lot better. Maybe you've got people that are just absolutely crushing for you and they get you better deals, or you're really, really, really tight and really analytical with your lists, and you're really doing all these amazing, you're having all these amazing calls. This could be lower, but it's typically about 3,000 contacts per deal. Brent, I don't have time for this. I work full time. I'm doing this. Great. Then you can hire a virtual assistant. And by the way, the more that you can make per deal, the less deals that you have to do. But I'm just putting it down at the very, very bottom of $10,000 per deal. 25 deals times 3,000 contacts is 75,000 contacts. Your VA has to talk to 75,000 people. 75,000 divided by 40, which most people are going 50, 52 weeks. You know what's beautiful about Eddie? And listen, I've verified the deals that Eddie has done because I verify people tell me, oh, I made 400,000. Then you start in my market, which deals, and he's telling it, he's breaking it down, totally legit. And he's 23 years old. He's driving like a Nissan Altima. You know what I mean? Owns it. You know what I mean? He's not going out and getting a lease on a Mercedes or a Range Rover. He's not proving anything to anybody. That guy is going to make he's going to make an absolute fortune, Matt. He's going to make he's got all the right pieces in place. He's not getting over his skis with expenses. He's not trying to be flashy. He's like the nicest guy of all time. He's gonna make an absolute fortune. 75,000 contacts divided by 40 weeks. You could probably mess around with that number, but it's 1,875 contacts per week. Divided by 5 days a week is 375 contacts per day. You're going to need a team. Because typically, if you put in that number, about 10 contacts per hour. 10 contacts per hour. So for that per day, you're talking 37 and a half hours of calls. So you're going to have a bunch of VAs. Oh, here you go. Here's the fixed one, guys. Thank you, Matt. That was my fault. But here's the original. If you're making the calls yourself, which I highly suggest that you do when you're getting started, just like Eddie, and then grow into it, 25 deals times 200 is 5,000 contacts. Boom. There you go. Guys, take a screenshot of it. Send it. If you guys would, just take a screen. If you're watching this just for fun, take a screenshot of this and tag me on Instagram, Real Brent Daniels. It's funny that I had to go Real Brent Daniels. There was a bunch of fake accounts before that you could just pay for a blue check mark. But I think it's goofy now. I'm kind of embarrassed by it, but whatever. Real Brent Daniels on Instagram, and tag it and put it in my. I'll share it in my story. I'd love to hear from you guys. A lot of these shows in the past have been a lot of question and answers, but from a lot of feedback, there's just like, give us the good stuff. And so I'm going to just give you the good stuff every single week.
A lot of comments rolling in asking how you're getting that many leads to contact.
Oh, how many numbers to contact? How many leads? Yeah, listen. Yeah, you got to you go to flipfinder.ai. I'm telling you guys, this has changed it. It's not just these average list pulling things. Use the technology. This platform people are charging $1,000 a month for, and I have negotiated for you an incredible deal. But the AI lists, tired landlord lists, tired multifamily lists, vacant lists, pre-foreclosures, inherited properties. We use an incredible list called US Leads List that gives us all the inherited and probate properties. There's nothing like it. It's absolutely incredible. Make sure you say something about Rhino or TTP or something at US Leads List, because there is a waiting list, but this kind of skirts around that. Wink, wink. And that's not just a sales pitch. That's for real. So TTP or Rhino, if you're looking for probate or inherited lists, which are absolutely fantastic. A lot of the deals that we're finding through pay-per-click, actually, but we're also getting some through text and calls, but a lot through pay-per-click is inherited properties, which is interesting. But flipfinder.ai, you got to use it. You got to get it. I mean, it is no brainer, and it tells you the most likely people. 15 times more likely to sell. 15 times. So I'm looking at this, and I'm like you guys. I'm like, guys, what is happening? Why are we talking to so many people to get one deal? Why do I got to talk to 3,000 people to get one deal? We need to refine our lists. We got to refine our list so that we're talking to people that really want to sell. That's the whole point. When I found out that you can get that AI is caught up with public records and they go back 40 years and it's like some like trillions of data points. What they do is they grab the property characteristics of all the cash sales that have happened over the last 40 years, but more, obviously it's highly weighted for the ones that sold recently. And then also the demographics, the personal demographics. Who were the property owners that sold their properties for these lower prices for cash to investors? What was going on? What subscriptions did they go to? What political party were they a part of? What all these other things where you sign up for a list or whatever? It's all in a database, and they have that database. And they cross-reference that database with the property characteristics, and boom, they blend it, and you get the highest wholesale score. Right? I mean, it's just like, that's how you get those numbers down. It's about being more efficient. And that's really what this year is all about, is more efficiency, because it should be closer to, in my opinion, it should be 1 to 1,000 1,000 to 1,500 in major markets, conversations to closings for if you're going to hire somebody to make the calls for you. If it's yourself, it should be 1 to 200. 1 to 200, because you only have so much capacity. So I think you're going to be more laser I know this. You're going to be more laser focused like Eddie. You're going to call the driving for dollars. You're going to call the AI list. You're going to call the vacants. You're going to call the tired landlords and probates and all these things. And you're going to be super, super laser focused. But when you have, people that are making calls for you all day long, you need to have big lists. And so you start pulling those bigger lists. And if you're in a smaller market, first you get really, 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 really tight. And then you're going to have to expand into other markets. That's how you increase the amount of people that you can talk to. But yeah, guys, I'm telling you, if you're going to hire VAs, you have to have a tremendous amount. And by the way, this is another thing. Ooh, we are hot. I'm feeling it now. Eddie pumped me up. Eddie pumped me up. Make sure we put in the deal machine little thing as well, because Deal Machine now has free skip tracing. Did you guys know this? And apparently, according to the Rhino Tribe, it's very, very, very good. By the way, guys, in 4 minutes, we're going to have Watson St. Solney coming up. He's in Philly. He's doing incredible things. He is the man. I love Watson. He's so awesome. St. Solney is going to be coming up in 4 minutes. He's going to blow your mind as well. He's doing amazing, amazing things. Stick around because you got to hear his story and what he's doing. But make sure you put in the Deal Machine little runner there, Matt. It's just TTP. Yeah, make sure, guys, Deal Machine right now, free skip trace. So you pull the lists, you put them into Deal Machine, skip trace them, boom, put them into your dialer, boom, you're calling, and it's bananas. It's bananas. So there you go. We don't have a Deal Machine runner. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, yeah, with Deal Machine, you get, I think they give you 30 free days or something with the TTP code. So you can go bananas with that. Awesome. Yeah. So, guys, don't overthink this. Conversations and offers, and just stay super focused. Let me show you this. Matt, will you go to my iPad real quick? Because I want to dive into this right before we bring on Watson St. Solney. Right here. This is the steps. All right. This is from a presentation that I'm going to be doing at Arizona State University tomorrow, speaking to all the incredible real estate investing club members there and some other people that are just going to show up, I guess. But number one is figure out what model you want to follow. Well, I want to make as much money as possible. I want to replace my income. I want to be a full-time real estate entrepreneur. Great. Wholesale. Unless you're incredible at raising funds and doing flips, and you have a great design eye and you know all the contractors and you have that background, wholesale. Don't mess around. So one, you picked your model. Great. Number two, who are you going to hang out with? You're not going to do it by yourself. Who's your tribe? Listen, it was the industrial era, then it was the information era, now it is the social era, right? It is. That's the absolute truth. But you become the people that you spend the most time with. And if nobody you know in your social group, in your family has a wholesaling business and wholesales real estate and is a wholesale entrepreneur, a real estate entrepreneur, you won't do it. Surround yourself with incredible people, build your tribe, and then get proof of concept. Do your first deal. Get proof of concept. Make $1 from this business. Make $10,000 like Eddie. Proof of concept. Next, you fire your boss. You get the proof of concept. You start getting consistency. You fire your boss. You go full time in this business. Imagine yourself unleashed. Imagine it. Imagine yourself unleashed. You're going to spend all day hunting down opportunities. Do you know how much money? Do you know how much you will make? Do you know how much impact you can make in your community? It's absolutely incredible. And then you make such an impact that you get to start firing yourself from certain parts of the business. You get to start firing yourself from doing the cold calls and the text, from doing the lead follow up, from going on the appointments or submitting offers virtually, or comping properties or selling those properties or whatever else. And now you've got a wholesaling machine that's finding you the absolute best opportunities every single day. Every single day. And you fire yourself. By the way, that's what we do. This is the whole goal of the Rhino Tribe. Eddie's in it. Watson's in it. Stephanie's in it. If you vibe with any of these personalities, go to wholesalinginc.com. Wholesalinginc.com. See what the tribe's all about. Literally, there is not a single tribe, single community that's doing more deals. It's not. It's just not. Like real deals. Like real. There's not. So if you want to be a part of that, I invite you. Open arms, wholesalinginc.com. Is Watson ready? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Watson, come on in, brother.
Hey, what's up? What's up? I'm doing well, Brent. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see you here.
Yeah.
Man. So we've been talking about the numbers, the breakdown of the numbers, right?
Break it down.
How many people we need to talk to, how many leads we need to do, what are the different marketing channels, everything. Give everybody a rundown of your business. And your screen's a little dark there. I don't know if you have a light you can turn on or something there, but it's a little dark, but that's fine. I can see you.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have much light going on here, but yeah.
It's dark in Philly. I get it. Where do you live?
Yeah.
What are you doing? How long have you been doing it?
Yeah. So name's Watson Saints only, wholesaler, been wholesale selling full time for the last 3 years. And I'm in the Philadelphia market. So in terms of, what we do, pretty much I'm on the phones between 9 and 12 p.m. That's my dialing time. And most of our leads now are either coming through following up on our cold calling leads, because I no longer have a cold caller, but I'm still following up on those leads.
Now, real quick, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Yeah, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I typically start my day with all my dispositions calls between 9 and 9:30, just to get those out of the way. And then from 9:30 to 12, I'm really hammering the phones, try to knock out at least 20 manual dials in that time frame.
Awesome. And how did you do last year?
Oh, last year we closed a total of 20 deals. Yeah. And we racked in, I believe, a little over 197,000.
197. Come on, Watson. Come on.
Let's go. Yes.
So talk to me about your marketing channels.
For the most part, our marketing channels include, we did a lot of cold calling back in 2022. So we have a large database of leads. I didn't have a cold caller for 2023 at all. I just kept hammering and following up. And a lot of our deals came from just me following up on 2021 deals and 2022 deals that finally ended up closing in 2023. We did a lot of referral business in 2023. I really focused on providing as best of an experience to our sellers as possible. And I'd say maybe about 3 or 4 deals came from referral business. And then now we're doing some text message blasting. I partnered up with another wholesaler here in Philadelphia. We're sending him data, and he's doing a lot of text blasting.
What do you mean you're partnered up with? Why not just do it yourself?
You got to do what you're good at, right?
Yeah.
And in this business, when you're solo, it's hard there's so many shiny objects around. You really got to focus on what you're good at and the things that you do best, and then partner up with other people who prefer to do business other ways and see how we can squad up and make things happen for each other. So a wholesaler, he actually found me the last time I did your podcast. He reached out on Instagram, and then we just started partnering up on deals, and we've actually closed the deal since that podcast. And he is full blown, all out text message blasting. He believes in it. I believe in following up and building that referral base. So essentially what we've done is just, I have a whole bunch of data that I have in my database that we're no longer cold calling. Just giving it to him. And then we just squad up and just, when he locks up a contract, he does the acquisitions. I'll just do the dispositions on him.
And do you like that part? Do you like working with the buyers more than the sellers?
Yes, I like that part. But
Because I mean, you solved a lot of problems. I mean, guys, if you have not on this YouTube channel and on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, we did an incredible podcast earlier this year with Watson. But and you solved a lot of problems. I mean, you had some big ones that you had to overcome. I mean, you were really, really, really holding the hands of some of your property owners. I mean, one specifically was a crazy story. I'm not going to tell it here because I want people to listen to it. But you were doing a lot of work with sellers, but you're finding that your energies are best used towards the buyers.
yeah, I have more fun in the business working with buyers.
Yeah,
Although it's actually more fulfilling working with sellers,
sure.
because when you're actually solving those problems, you're actually making a real tangible difference in people's lives. So I think, most people go into wholesaling because they see, how much money they can make. But in
Yep.
order for you to make that kind of money, you have to add value to the marketplace. And by adding value to the marketplace, you're legitimately solving real world problems for real people.
That's right. That's right. I love it. And so, are you just focused on dispo and just taking those deals and selling those? And are you getting real loud with all the different real estate communities in? Is it just Philly?
Just Philly. I
Just
do a
Philly? Are
couple
you
of
getting
deals.
all crazy in there?
Yeah, yeah. What I'm doing now in Philly is I'm really focused on Philadelphia. I believe in going about an inch wide and a mile deep in your market before you start spreading out. So I'm really focused on Philadelphia. Although last year we closed deals in suburbs outside of Philadelphia, closed out a deal out in Pittsburgh. So I'm not opposed, but my focus is really Philadelphia. But for now, it's me and one VA, right?
Yep.
And then I just partner with other wholesalers and people who are seriously doing business in the city to get things done. So I'm still calling, not much cold calling, but all kinds of following up on my referrals. My brother, he works for a solar company, and he's now, going talking to people at the checkout line at Walmart and
Sure.
getting me deals. We're actually closing on the first deal that he's referred me to on Friday in West Philly. So at this point right now, I'm still deep into the acquisitions part of it,
Yep.
because I do feel like that's the meat of the business.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get good at acquisitions, but I can see myself removing myself from my acquisitions and really focus on the part that I enjoy, which is dispositions.
I love it. I love it. And you just work from home?
Yeah. I'm working from home.
So you just give me your daily routine. You kind of gave me your morning routine, but when do you wake up? What does
Okay.
that look like? Because I'm going to go through the daily routine that I suggest for anybody that's just getting started out or that can go full time. But you tell me yours.
Yeah. So I'm up at 6 a.m. And that's fairly recently over the last couple of months. I've really made it a point to be up at 6 a.m. I've got my alarm clock not next to me. I've got it next to my toothbrush in my bathroom so I can actually get up.
So do I. So do
you
I.
know, yeah. So I'm up, brush my teeth, hop in the shower. I've got my phone posted, listening to an audiobook early in the morning. And I've read Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, there's so many things that you can do to like really set your mind up for success. And one part of the book, it talks about auto suggestions and how you should actually write out a clear vision of what you want and who you want to be and the results that you have. So I've actually recorded myself saying that. And I put my AirPods in while I'm brushing my teeth and making my bed. And I'm listening to myself tell myself the type of person I want to be and the results I want to get in my life. That really sets me up for the day. I do some meditation. I read my Bible before I get on with my VA. And so between, I would say 6 and 7:30, I would do what I call going to the mental gym, right? I'm up, I'm getting my water, I'm taking my shower, I'm listening to my audiobooks, doing my meditation, reading my Bible. And then from there at 7:30, I start doing some planning out my day. And then I connect with my VA at 8 a.m. And then we start tackling the different tasks that we need to get going for the day prior to me getting on the phones at 9. And then right before I get on the phones, I got to have my double shot of espresso. That's like a must. I get my double shot of espresso. I play my Rocky music in the background or in my earbuds, get ready to make my calls. Yeah. And after that double shot, I'm on the phones.
The Rocky music, Philly. I love it. That's
All
the
day, every
best.
day.
Yeah. And then
Every
okay,
day.
and so it's you get on the phones, you're making all your calls, you're doing that 9 to noon, and then what do you do in the afternoon?
Yeah, in the afternoon, that's where I really schedule all the different tasks related to my deals, whether I have to, go see a property, show a property to an investor. I try to do all my appointments in the afternoon after my call period. And that's pretty much it. Between, I would say, 12 and 5, that's pretty much the majority of what I'm doing, working on, different title stuff for transactions. Like, for example, today we have a deal under contract in West Philly. We have it under contract for 15,000. We're dispositioning it for 70. But
Mm,
yeah. But the seller has a whole bunch of debt, and we're committed to like covering, 5,000 in taxes and 6,000 in water. That's going to come out of our assignment, but it's going to be a pretty big deal. Today, because she had this death certificate for her husband, it's a probate deal, but for whatever the reason, she wasn't listed on the death certificate as a wife. Like, random tasks, got to take her to the original funeral home so that she could give her paperwork to, get added onto the death certificate so we can do the probate. So it's like random things like those that have to do with our transactions and getting the deals closed between, I would say, 12 and 5. And at 5 o'clock, I would say between 4:30 and 5 o'clock, I reconnect with my virtual assistant and we go over the day. So every single day I do what's called an end of day review,
mm-hmm.
where I would do a recap of the day. We talk about, we document my one win for the day, my one area where I need to improve, review my next day's calendar, have a street tracker just to make sure that I'm hitting all my habit goals that I have throughout the day. And then once she logs off at 5 o'clock, I'm back on the phones with sellers. So anybody who I didn't get in contact with between 9 and 12, I'll reach out to them between, I would say, 5 and 7.
Love it. How'd you find
Mhm.
that deal for 15,000 that you're selling for 70?
I was out at the Juneteenth festival in West Philly,
Sure.
and we were just, talking to people, and we ended up talking to this guy who was on his bike. And what I strongly promote is a referral program. I tell people, hey, look, if you know anybody that's looking to sell, the day they go into agreement with us, you get $500, and that really incentivizes people. So he actually referred us to the property that was vacant. And then we ended up finding that the husband had passed away. We reached out to the wife, and she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So we got it under contract for 15,000, and we just assigned it yesterday for 70.
And what do you think you'll net on that?
It's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 30, right? Because there's a lot of
Ooh.
debt on that. Yeah. There's a lot of debt on the property. So we
Sure.
promised her that she would walk away with 15.
Yep.
And we already know that we're just covering, the rest of the debt on it. So we'll net somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 on it.
How'd you find the buyer for it?
New Western. Yeah. So I've got a contact at New Western. Actually, he's actually really, really good. I know New Western doesn't have the best of reputations, but my guy, out of the last 10 deals we closed in 2023, he disposed 5 of my deals, right?
Yep.
So he's very, very good. So yeah, he found us the buyer for this one.
So what is he? What do they get out of it? Do they add on top of yours, or they?
Yep, they add right on top. They add right.
So you
on
said,
top.
hey, listen, I want 70. Anything that you sell for above that's yours.
Go for it.
Do you know what he sold it for?
I think 75 or 77.
Awesome.
We had a conversation about it today, 75
Yeah.
or 77. And this is part of the reason why I really want to dive deeper into dispo, because at some point, I want to be able to work and build that buyer's list myself.
Yep.
But right now, my goal is to really stack up the pipeline. And if I've got to, share the wealth to keep the transactions moving, I'll do that for now until, I can build the systems and put those in place to really start dispoing myself.
Awesome. Watson, how can people get a hold of you?
You guys can reach out to me on Instagram at i.m.as.in.mary.watson on Instagram. And FYI, I'm also going to be starting a podcast next month.
I love it.
Yeah. Going to be starting a podcast, just documenting the journey, talking about,
That's it.
Me going to the cemetery because I can't find a death certificate. So I'm taking pictures of a grave site to sellers, I'm showing buyers a property and the seller's in there. He's introducing himself to everyone and it decides to play the drums in the middle of the house and host a concert. Like there's just so much that happens. So many great stories, so many things, so many learning lessons. So I figured I'd just, start a podcast and document the journey. So be on the
I
lookout
love
for
it.
that.
I support it. Tell them your Instagram again.
At I.M.Watson.
I love it. Watson, thank you for joining us today. You're incredible. We got to get above that 500 this year.
Yeah. I feel bad because I promised you last year during the growth summit that I would hit 250.
Yep.
And I fell short. So this year I'm not going to let you down, Brent. I'm not letting you down.
Come on. Push. But, obviously make sure that your lead generation is just top notch. But it sounds like you got things in place. Awesome. Great to see you all the way from Philly. Watson, great to see you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Take a look at this, guys. We're moving right along here. In about 30 minutes, 15 minutes. We're going to bring on the incredible Stephanie Hunt out of Columbus, Ohio. We bounce all around the country. I want you to get different perspectives. I don't want you to just think that, that's just what happens in Arizona, or that's what just happens in Texas or Florida or California or whatever else. All over the place. I'm going to bring it right into your laps because I love you. I love you. Listen, I say that and I mean that because the fact is nobody knows what we do. Nobody knows what we do. Nobody knows. You go to a family reunion, you go to a family barbecue. It doesn't matter how much money you make or how successful you are. Nobody knows what you do. They're like, oh, okay, he does like, I guess he's like a realtor or something. Or I guess he flips houses or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, right? And so being around people that are doing this business, that are in that hustle, that are really changing the landscape of the neighborhoods. I love you. You're doing amazing work. And we really, Stephanie's already in there. Not yet, Stephanie. Give me 15 more minutes. I got some more ranting to do, but I love you. Yeah. Listen, I really do. I want you all to be successful. I want you to have like the most ridiculous abundance in your life. But it starts with talking to people. It starts with being brave. It starts with finally picking up the phone and talking to one person, and then 2 people, and then 5 people, and then 10 people, and then building something that you're proud of. And then the beautiful thing, if we go back to this, Matt, once you get to the fire yourself part here, that's when you start buying assets. That's when you start buying those multifamily properties. That's when you start lending money. That's when you start doing flips. If that's the route that you want to go down, that's when you start developing. If you want to do that type of thing, but build your machine for finding the best opportunities first. All right. Here's the 3 steps. Number 1 is lead generation, 2 conversion, 3 exit strategy. Again, we go through it. And I really broke it down early in the show. So if you're just jumping on here now, make sure that you go back there and check that out. But number 1 there is referrals. You can build a network of referrals. Number 2 is you could do marketing, where you buy conversations, people to reach out to you, or you can start prospecting and earn it. And you do that by text message marketing, calling, and knocking doors. All right. And by the way, if you guys are interested, I'm going to put this out there for everybody that's still participating in the show. I've got some people that are doing some amazing things with door knocking. So if you're interested in that, just put a comment in the show here. Let me know if you're interested in that. Maybe you're just interested in just doing this virtually and just doing everything from a computer and the phone, and I totally get it. But if you're interested in learning more about door knocking, let me know. Also, each and every month, eight times this year, I'm going to be doing action workshops based on different parts of our business, not just like, lead generation and this, but how to close over the phone and do everything virtual, how to understand what innovation is and how to go and add that to your database, how to go out and really master pre-foreclosures and those conversations there. We're going to be doing at the end of the month here, at the last Friday of this month, I'm going to be cold calling live on a special Friday where I'm going to be calling through the AI list through flipfinder.ai. It's going to be absolutely bananas. We're going to get deals and leads and really do this. I mean, really have conversations with real people. It's going to be absolutely bananas. To make sure that you know and get the access to those trainings or those action workshops, just go to wholesalinginc.com and just put in just get all the free downloads and all the stuff there, and we'll email you the link when the time comes. But definitely make sure that you're in there. Definitely go to wholesalinginc.com, put your info in there. We'd love to send you notices on when we do these special action workshops. All right. Make sure that you check that out. So it's going to be absolutely incredible. And I want to do more stuff. I want to get deeper in, like real 2-3 hours, bring experts in, really deep dive, what usually costs thousands of dollars for some courses or something else, get them in here just because they want to give to this community and give to this to give to I guess me. I don't know. We're friends, so I'll bring my buddies in and I'll bust their balls on exactly what they're doing. All right, figuratively, they could be ladies as well, lady balls. Yeah, we're spiraling now. Anyway, going back here. Here we go. Real estate investing, 3 steps: lead generation, referrals, marketing, prospecting, wait, buy, earn, conversion, pre-qualify. We pre-qualify every single property every single time based on the property condition, their timeline, their motivation, their price. Condition, timeline, motivation, price. It is the scaffolding, the skeleton of every conversation that you have with a property owner. So make sure that you pre-qualify every single time. Make sure that you're doing your lead follow-up. Remember, lead follow-up goes into 3 buckets: hot, warm, and cold. Hot are properties that are going to sell in the next 30 days. Warm are properties that will sell between 30 and 90 days. And cold leads are 90 days plus. And our job as professionals in converting these leads is to shorten the timeline, put everybody into the hot bucket, or we get them out of our life. Remember, 25 deals a year will change your life forever. If you can consistently do just 25 deals, that's 2 a month, a little bit over 2 a month, change your life forever, right? So remember, you might see these big numbers of people that you have to talk to. Only 25, 50, 100, 200 people are going to actually do business with you every year. So just focus on those ones, get rid of the other ones. And then the offer presentation, whether that's virtual or in person, what are you saying? How are you going through the purchase agreement? How are you going through all of the different objections that pop up when you are getting to the finish line? How do you do advanced agreements so that you know all the objections before you even go into that appointment? And then exit strategy: wholesale, buy and hold, and buy and sell, flip. Right, guys, there's only 3 exit strategies. I mean, there's all this stuff, right? How to make money in real estate. There's a bunch of different ones. But basically, out of all 18, there's probably 18 more. But these are the top 18 that most people know about. Out of those 18, really, they boil down to: are you going to buy and flip it? Are you going to buy and hold it? Or are you going to sell your rights to that opportunity? That's it. And then what you want to do is you want to target the 6 to 10% of the real estate market that's in distress at all times. 2020 census, 6 to 10% of properties are in distress at all times. That's a fact. It's an incredible amount. There's like 14 million single family property. No, it's 11 million single family properties that are sitting vacant right now. Isn't that wild? Now, a lot of those are second homes, vacation homes, all those things. My cabin up north, 2 hours. I mean, we kind of live there we live there on the weekends, especially during the summer, to escape the heat. That'd be considered there. But there's plenty of people that are in distress, plenty. And we got to solve those problems because agents aren't equipped. Attorneys aren't equipped. Just fix and flippers certainly aren't equipped. The contractors aren't equipped, typically. They just want to do the deals. They just want to fix up the properties. They just want the opportunities. They don't want to go and sit and really understand the emotions of the property owner and what they're going through. So remember, what we target is 6 to 10% of the market that's in distress. They want to sell, and they have at least 30% equity for wholesale, for traditional wholesale, ugly houses, big checks type of wholesale deals. Now, obviously, you don't need that much equity if you're going to do something creative, a wrap, a sub-2, something like that. Lease option, lease purchase, some of those old school methods that'll come popping up again. At some point, I'm sure somebody will make it popular. But for the most part, my business focus on 30% equity. And it must meet those criteria to be a good lead. They have to have personal problems with their property. They must want to sell, and they must have at least 30% equity, right? That's what we need. And so as long as we're focused on that and we're pre-qualifying, and we know this, in every single sale, you got to think of 3 factors: speed, convenience, and price. Speed, convenience, and price. By the way, guys, 5 minutes for the incredible Stephanie Hunt. Talk about somebody that enters your life and your life is instantly better. Talk about somebody that's got positivity that will just absolutely, I mean, she is like the sun. You know what I mean? Like it just boom, rays of positivity and optimism and hard work. It's coming out of Stephanie Hunt, and I'm excited to have her on here in 5 minutes. But look at this. Remember this: speed, convenience, and price. If a property owner wants speed and convenience, that's a wholesale offer. If they want convenience, but they also want a higher price, that's when we get into novations. And we're going to have the incredible Rich Wonders, who I formally met on Monday, and we just hit it right off. I mean, he's incredible. I love him. He's local here, but he does business all over the country. If you're not following him on Instagram, you certainly should. Rich Wonders, I think he's Novation King on Instagram. He's fantastic. We're going to bring him in, especially for one of the action workshops. That's going to be bananas. And then I haven't asked him about that. But I'll get him, whatever. We'll talk. He's in for a podcast next week for the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. If you're not listening to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, make sure that you are. Jay Connor in the house. Come say hello. Jay Connor's here. Right here. Nope. Right here. We're live. Come here. Jay Connor, the master. Go get your book. The master of raising private funds right here. Wait till that podcast drops. From beautiful North Carolina. He's raised millions and millions and millions. If you don't have this book, get this book. Where's the website?
So the website to pick up the book for free is jayconner, JAYCONNER.
Yep.
.com/book.
There it is. /book. He will sign this. Look at this. He signed it for me. He will sign this and send this to you. Listen, this is a skill that is absolutely necessary as you grow in your real estate journey. Where to Get the Money Now by Jay Connor. It's absolutely phenomenal. We'll walk you through all the steps on how to raise private funds.
You got it. Love you, brother.
Love you.
Good to see you.
See ya. Thanks.
See ya.
That's mine. You could leave that here. We'll keep that here for a little bit. There you go. Boom. We'll put that there. Jay Connor, everybody. Great to see you. I love you. Awesome. Jay's the best. He is the absolute best. He raised a lot of funds. He's very good at it. This is an incredible book. We had a great conversation. He showed how to raise $1 million in 30 days. Don't get distracted though. Build your business. And by the way, I'm going to go on a tangent for just a second. If you are business partners, listen to me. If you have a business partner, one builds the real estate business, the other one raises the funds. That's the only way it's going to work long-term. That's it. Because everything else, you can hire somebody for $50,000, $70,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year to do everything in your business. But if you're going to be a partner, one goes and raises funds and builds those skills, and one runs your real estate business, your wholesaling business. So if you're sitting there and you're in your partnerships and you're looking at each other, and this is somehow playing in your office, or you're listening to this, and you have a business partner, send this to them and get this book. He'll send it to you for free. I mean, you got to pay for shipping, but he's absolutely incredible. He does a few events every single year in North Carolina, and just the best guy. But yeah, if you are a partnership, one raises funds, one runs the business. That's it. A beautiful example of that is the Viking Boys. Incredible guys as well. Jake and Luke Rotfold. They're absolutely incredible. Jake it does a phenomenal job of raising the funds, and Luke does a phenomenal job of spending the funds. But the Viking Boys, I think they have a YouTube channel. They certainly have Luke Rotfold is the main guy for Instagram, so definitely check them out as well. Is it time for Stephanie? It is time for Stephanie. Man, this 90 minutes or 89 minutes that we've been together has gone by fast, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you so much for listening and watching. And I hope it's been entertaining, but more, I hope it's given you instruction to go out there and absolutely get to that $250,000 a year mark. And here's the tough part. Before I bring Stephanie in here, here's the tough part. When you make that first 100,000, you start getting a little wiggly. Ooh, this feels good. I'm going to go do some crazy stuff that I've never done before. And then you start getting distracted and you start going just like Eddie did. Eddie's like, oh, great. I made some good money here. I'm going to go do a flip. Right? Just get to that $250,000. Start getting to building your business and then replacing yourself and then start adding on. And then if you're a partnership, make sure that you're raising funds at the same time. And then it should cascade at the same time. And all of a sudden you've got a cash machine that's your wholesaling business. And now you've got funds to go out and close a lot of these deals, do the rehabs and not put any of your own money into it. It's awesome. Check out Luke Rotvold and the Viking Boys. He is awesome. Awesome. Speaking of awesome, it is time to bring in the incredible from Columbus, Ohio. Nobody has put more miles on a pair of roller skates than this incredible wholesaler out of Ohio, Stephanie Hunt. Hello. Are you there?
I am. Hi, Brent Daniels.
There you are. You muted, Stephanie, somehow.
Am I?
Oh, you're good.
No way.
How are you?
I'm good, Brent Daniels. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited to have you on here. Stephanie, how did you do last year?
I did $83,000 last year.
$83,000 in Columbus, Ohio.
Yep.
What's that?
I said 10 deals, $83,000.
I love it. I absolutely love it. What are you going to do this year?
$375,000.
Woo! Big jump.
Yeah.
Are you scared? Are you scared? Are you scared or prepared?
You know what? A little bit. Yes, I am a little scared. I was going to do 250, but after talking to my mentor Brent Daniels, you know him, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, "Listen, you need to push yourself." So I am, and I do have people that are ready to come on board. I have my sons want to jump on, my brother, and one of our other friends from the skating rink wants to jump on board too. So we are training, we are implementing and getting ready. I already have one of them cold calling on a single line dialer, and I can see it. I can see it.
So walk me through. So I gave you a big shout out earlier this episode talking about the Empty the Clip challenge, where you host and we have a private Zoom that the Rhino Tribe goes in and people are going to hit 100 contacts in a day. It takes all day. And I remember Stephanie, little Stephanie, when she first started out, couldn't talk to anybody.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
So what was the change? Now you're talking to 100 people in a single day. That's bananas. Like what had to break? What happened?
Well, really what happened was I would just set myself up in the mornings and I would be upstairs getting ready. And I said, come on, you can do this. We're just going to go down here, get in the dirt and just do it. Go suffer. I literally say, come on, let's go suffer, Stephanie. Let's go suffer. No different than working out. No different than, just go suffer. Go get rejected. And then I realized that the more you suffer, the higher you go.
Yep.
So I would pick up the phone and I said, and if you fumble it up bad, it doesn't matter. At least you're doing it.
Yep.
At least you're doing it because nobody else is doing it. Who else is doing it? It's me.
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Not only that, but it's one thing to do it for a day. It's one thing to get yourself motivated for 15 minutes or an hour. But you are now calling for 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yes. And let's just be very clear and very down to earth on this. It did start off with just 15 minutes.
Yep.
That's what it was. I said, you know what? I'm going to commit to 15 minutes a day. And that's just what I did. And then eventually I said, oh, it's not so bad. I can do 30. I can do an hour. And then literally, really after you can hit an hour, you start really picking up like, oh, I can do 2. You know, your endurance begins to like really, really grow. And then after you kind of like, oh, I'm at the 3-hour mark, then you're coming to the point where you're like, I like this.
Mm-hmm.
Then your mind changes like, this is fun. It really literally happens. It's like a runner's high. You know, if you ever just started running, like, I hate to run. It's like the most stupidest thing ever. Like, why would you just want to go run to nowhere? What you doing that for? Right?
Yep.
But you
Yep.
get yourself in the mood and get yourself and just make yourself do it. And you hit that high and you're like, oh my, it's the same thing. Cold calling high. It's amazing.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. So the same thing, we every month, 100 new contacts in one day, which means you got to dial about 1,000
Yep.
people, 1,000 numbers. You got to dial about 1,000. So 100 new contacts in one day, and most times it's going to take you about 8 hours. 8 hours. I remember 1 month it took me 12 hours.
I remember
12 hours. And I mean, I pushed and I just went. Michael Reyes stayed on the phone with me until it was over, and Jatarin Moore. They're like, we're just going to stay with you, Stephanie, until you get it. And now most times it's 8 hours and everyone is jumping on. We are closing deals during that time. People are getting solid leads during that time. And it really, really sets you up for the month, right? So if I know that this year I want to hit 2 deals per month, well, if I do 100 contacts in one day and I know I got to do 400 contacts for the month, I mean, oh my goodness, how great is that? I'm hitting 1/4 of that in one day.
Yep.
Incredible. It's amazing.
Well, the beautiful thing is, I remember you hit 100 contacts and then you were on the dialer the next morning.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The endurance is definitely there. And
then 3 hours after that is nothing.
Right. It's nothing. Exactly. The endurance is there. Definitely. I mean, there's a group of us, a handful of us that do it all the time. Yep. 100 contacts in one day, and the next morning at 8 a.m. we're there. We're back on the dialer.
Yeah. It was interesting. Back in the day, Erin, my wife, wanted to do a half marathon, and she's like, I want you to do it with me. And I was like, okay, even though I'm built like a, 1x1 Lego type of thing, it's not right. Long distance is not my thing. You know what I mean? And so I was like, okay, well, let's just, let's go out and let's just run like 10 miles. And she's like, no. You can't just run 10. Like, let's start with like 3 miles. We've got a few, we got like 2 months. Let's like build up to this type of thing. And it's the same thing with your endurance. You're going to feel a little bit nervous when you're getting started, right? You're going to feel, let me go on and talk to one person. Let me talk to 2 people. Let me talk to 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. You don't just go in and call for 8 or 10 hours the first day that you do it. You build your endurance. But then the beautiful thing is once that endurance has been built, the rest of it is so much easier. An hour probably feels like nothing to you.
Oh yeah, it's so easy.
Probably feels like nothing. So I want to give people real perspective here, Stephanie. So how do you set up? Are you on like speakerphone? Is it on your computer? How do you do this?
Okay, so I set up with Mojo Dialer.
Yep.
And I have my Google Voice, which is tapped into my Mojo Dialer. It shows you exactly how to do it. I make the calls on my desktop. And that way I can see, it's easy for me to send out text messages. It's just right there on my desktop. So that's how I make the calls. And so then when we're on a Zoom call, I have my Zoom virtual office people with me. They're on my iPad. And we can all listen in. And for the people who are, you're like, you just don't want to do it. Listen, you can get cussed out, but you don't die.
That's it.
You don't.
That's it.
It's okay. And honestly, it's maybe it's a terrible thing to say, but you kind of get used to it. You're just like, it's not a big thing. You just
thick skin.
Yep,
That's it. Now, tell me about the benefit of doing it with other people from an accountability standpoint, from all that. What has been your personal experience with having the Rhino tribe calling at the same time as you?
So the thing is, like, I set up the virtual office, right? But Demola in the tribe, he's the one that literally he was there every single day at 8 a.m. I mean, and I would come in, I'm like, I would come in at like 8:05, 8:10, and he was like on the dialer He's like, this is my office. He's the one that named it the virtual office. So we're there every day. We're not hitting 100 new contacts every day.
Sure.
We plan that once a month. But it does help so much because I'm in the mornings, I'm in my routine and I'm getting ready. And I'm like, all right, I got to hurry up. I got to log in. I got to be ready at 7:55 and make sure that my dialer is going right at 8 a.m. You know, because I know that my coworkers, my co-teammates are going to be there.
Right.
And we're all waiting for each other and we're all there supporting each other. And it's been so great that even now, let's say we had one guy, he went out on an appointment and the guy was like, I'm ready to meet right now. He left in Jay McMillan. And he said, I don't even know any comps about this, you know. So as he's driving, he called back into the Zoom. He said, hey, can somebody just look at this, run some comps in the area for me real quick? And sure enough, I mean, we did it. We sent it out and said, hey, this is probably about where you want to be. It's amazing. It's incredible. And somebody is there all day long because like you said, Brent, you're hitting the whole country. The tribe is over the entire country.
That's right.
Yeah. So when we're finishing up in like 11 a.m., here comes the California people. Here comes the Arizona people. Here comes, you know, and it's someone
Washington.
Exactly. All day long. Amazing. Yeah.
I love it. And how long did it take you to feel comfortable on the phones? Honestly.
Once I made a decision to really, really commit and get on the phones every day, I really began to feel that cold caller's high. That's what I'm going to call it now. From now on, the cold caller's high. It took about a month.
Awesome. And just before, just so that I don't forget to mention, how can people get a hold of you? Because there's people that are feeling you, Steph. They just love you. How can people get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is on Facebook through Messenger, Stephanie Hunt. My picture is on there. Stephanie Hunt. That's the one that I am on TikTok and on Instagram, but I never really check those private messages at all. But I do check the Stephanie Hunt on Facebook, and I check that pretty often.
Awesome. And you mentioned that your family's going to be starting to do this with you.
Yes.
Your handsome, athletic boys are going to be in the mix. I say that because at least one of them's an incredible basketball player.
For sure. Really.
Yeah. And so what are they going to be doing and how are you adding them in and how are you easing them into the roles and how does that work?
Well, so everybody is starting with acquisitions. So we have a chart now that everyone is getting 10 hours of one-on-one time with me, individual one-on-one time with me of cold calling. So we're starting with Solomon first. He's actually the youngest and he is in his 5th hour. And now he is pretty much prepared. He's like, I think I can go on my own. He's like, I'm good. Like he's feeling, you know, he's been, you know, told off several times, but he's like, this is not bad at all. He's like, he's understanding. He's you just kind of got to guide them into the next question, got to guide them into the next thought, you know. So he's really good. So my brother, so everybody's going to start with acquisitions, but I do feel like my brother will be very good at disposition because he has no emotional like attachment to how a person may feel if they get the deal or not, right? Like he just doesn't.
He's
cold. I know that about him. That's very clear to me about him. So I think he would be very good about that, which
I love it.
I struggle with that. You know,
sure.
I struggle with having good relationships with buyers. And I'm like, well, maybe, okay, I might let you see it first. He'll just be like, well, no, this is the rule. This is what it is.
Yeah.
So, but I do believe it's important that everybody understands what an acquisitions is, how it works. And then, and after that, I have to learn them in this new business environment. I've always been a parent to them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So that's how we're going to start.
Love it. Favorite list to call right now?
Oh my goodness. My favorite of all times is retired landlord. So what does that mean? That means a person who owns the property. They're absentee owner, means they don't live in the property. They are a landlord. They've had the property for more than 10 years or maybe 7 and more years. And they are 65 years and older. Retired landlord.
I love it. Stephanie, you're the best. Thanks for coming on here.
In the whole wide world.
In the whole wide world. That's it. All right, good. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
All
Go
right.
get them.
Bye,
All right. See you,
everybody.
Steph. Awesome. Stephanie Hunt, everybody. Make sure that you reach out to each and everybody. Eddie, Stephanie, Watson, they're incredible. You see it, you can feel it. If you're listening to this, you can hear it. They're absolutely people that need to be in your life. And you need people in your life that are positive and they're taking massive imperfect action. Remember, this is about progress, not perfection. This is about going out every single day and having a lot of tough conversations, getting rejected a whole bunch. Certainly, you get rejected a lot less when you are getting the calls coming into you. When you're doing when you get to the point where you have enough budget, your skills are strong enough to convert those deals into signed agreements, and and you can answer those calls live, and you could be really fast with incoming calls. You obviously deal with a lot less rejection. That's why a lot of people go that way first. They're like, you know what? Let me send out some mail, which is fine. Flipfinder.ai has an incredible automatic mail system for those AI lists, so you can get like really, really, really niche and not spend a ton and send it every month, different type of mail. But you got to answer those calls. You got to answer those calls. You got to be prepared. You got to be ready to do that. And then once you have those deals coming in, what I want you to do is just to make it easy, and you're trying to figure out what to offer on these properties, use this right here. This is the TTP offer price estimator. And if the Zestimate, if you pull it up, you Google the address, the Zestimate is 250,000 or more. You want to be around 50,000. I'm sorry, 50% of that price. So if it's 380,000, you want to be 190,000 if the property needs significant rehab, right? And we're looking for that. We're looking for the properties that have some rust on them. We're looking for the properties that are beat up and they need some work. If it's between 499,999 and 100,000, you're at 35%. And if you're at 100,000 or less, you want to be at 10%. These are properties that need renovation. Obviously, if they're in better shape and people want more for their properties, it's a very easy transition with that property owner. If they want more for their property, this is what I want you to tell them. I can get you your price, but it'll have to be in payments. Are you open to taking payments for this property? I can get you your price, but it'll have to be in payments. Are you open to payments on it? What does that mean? That means I'm gonna pay you a certain amount each and every month, and you're gonna be the bank. You're gonna be the bank. You're gonna get a nice return. We'll figure out a good, reasonable return that you're looking for, and you're gonna be the bank on it. But I can get you your price. Remember, listen, it's either wholesale price or wholesale terms, right? Wholesale price or wholesale terms. And let me do this real quick because I think it's important. Matt, you can get me out of this, and we'll go back onto it. But we won't have everybody go through that. Remember this right here. All right. Remember this 5, 10, 50. Write it down. 5% down payment is what you typically want as a maximum if it's an owner finance deal. 5%. They have to own the property free and clear. We're going all over the place, but why not? Let's have some fun. Let's keep it exciting. 10-year balloon minimum. That's the balloon payment. That means in 10 years, you're going to have to pay off this loan. So you'll have to refinance it. You'll have to sell it. I never understood what a balloon payment was. That was very it was just not clear to me what that meant for years and years and years. Because again, I liked working with cash. I liked just figuring things out with cash. But balloon, I don't know why it's called a balloon, but a balloon payment in 10 years, right? 10 years for a balloon payment. That's typically how long you want that note with that property. Now, the longer the better. The smaller this number, the better. The longer this number, the better. And 50% of what the rental rate is what you want to pay them as a payment. So if you can get $1,000 for rent, you want to be around 500. If you can get 2,000, you want to be at 1,000. 5, 10, 50. Remember it. 5, 10, 50. Remember it. 5, 10, 50. Remember it. Say it. That'll help you out if people want too much for their property and they own it free and clear. If they don't, then obviously you can get creative with any kind of ramps or sub twos or lease options and lease purchases. But for the most part, I want you going after ugly. Well, my opinion, go after ugly houses that need significant rehab because they have the most potential for profit. Most potential for profit. All right. Matt, you can pull me out here. Is there any other questions that have been arising that I need to address before we get out of here, Matt? No. We're good. Yeah. Awesome. Guys, last thing I want to leave you with here is this right here. This is the wholesale battle. This is what you're going to have to deal with this year. This is what you're going to have to deal with this year. Doubt, distraction, and disappointment. Doubt, distraction, disappointment, the 3 Ds and 3 Ps. Paralysis by analysis, perfectionism, and procrastination. Getting stuck in theory. Trying to have everything perfect before you take action. I'm going to get started someday when I'm ready to get started. I'm going to, it's like the ready, aim, and you never pull the trigger is procrastination. Some people call procrastination quality control. It's ridiculous, right? But paralysis by analysis, perfectionism, procrastination, doubt, distraction, disappointment. What destroys those, and that's what this graphic is. It's a tug of war. On the strong side, you've got massive and perfect action, progress, not perfection, and following a proven plan. Focus and consistency. And the arrow goes to a tribe, people that are going to cheerlead you. People that are going to support you. And if you're interested in joining and being around people like Eddie and Watson and Stephanie, go to wholesalinginc.com. We're here with open arms. If it's the right fit, let's rock and roll. And that's our show. I am Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, Mr. Talk to People. I love you. I want you to be wildly successful. There is nothing stopping you from making $250,000 this year. It's just a numbers game. It's just math. Be brave, have courage, go out there, do amazing things. And remember, keep your house clean, your actual house and this house, right? Protect your health and increase your value to the world. You'll live an incredible life. See you next week. Love you.